Our early attachment and relationship experiences form the foundation for how we as adults understand close relationships. In other words, how our primary caregivers, usually our parents or at least one parent, treated us and treated each other, becomes our template, our model for how close relationships work. So things like, how do you handle conflict? How well or how poorly do you allow yourself to be treated? What can you expect from the other person? But also questions like, are you allowed to express your needs and desires? Or do you have find indirect ways to get your needs met? Are you even allowed to have needs and desires? Are the other person's boundaries respected? Or is it somehow normal to cross them? What topics are okay to talk about and which ones are off limits? For example, are you allowed to say when something bothers you about the other person? What roles might exist in a relationship? For example, is one person the scapegoat who automatically takes the blame? Is one person the emotional dumping ground where the other unloads stress? Stress from work, colleagues, friends, politics. Is someone responsible for regulating the emotional atmosphere? Maybe even responsible for their partner's emotional state. Meaning, if one person is sad or angry, the other feels responsible for making feel them better. And very importantly, which of these roles did you already have to take on as a child? For example, if you grew up with an overwhelmed single parent, you might have had to step into the role of a substitute partner early on. And taking on too much responsibility and becoming overwhelmed yourself. Or questions around closeness and distance. How do you deal with different needs for intimacy and space? Some people are very affectionate, seeking closeness, even a kind of emotional fusion. Others need space, independence, time for themselves. Or how do you express affection? Saying, I love you, giving small gestures of affection, kisses, touch, attention. And then there are more practical questions like, who plans things? Who organizes? Who makes decisions? So, all of these questions are things we absorb as children, subtly, unconsciously, through what is modeled to us or what we directly experience. And that becomes our baseline understanding, our internal model of how relationships work. And here's the crazy part. No matter whether what we experienced was good or bad, there's a very high chance that as adults we choose partners who match this internal model. Of course, unconsciously. No one writes in a dating app, "My father constantly devalued my mother, so now I'm looking for someone toxic who treats me badly." No. People say they want someone kind, funny, caring. No one wants to be treated badly. And yet, so many people end up exactly in those kinds of relationships. That's the paradox. Our early relationship experiences act like a filter for what feels right to us. That feeling of it just fits between us. Because on a subtle, unspoken level, both people are behaving in ways that feel familiar, ways they've learned, internalized, and grown used to. Or the opposite, it just doesn't work. When there's too much unfamiliar behavior, too much that feels new or unknown. And here's the even crazier part. It doesn't really matter whether what we experienced was healthy or unhealthy. What matters is it's familiar, it's known, it feels right. Completely independent of what we consciously want in a relationship or how we wish to be treated. And of course, if you were shown healthy, loving relationships and now live in one yourself, then that's great. But for many people, that's not the case. And this is where psychology can help to become aware of these patterns, to understand what actually feels good and healthy for you in relationships, and to learn how to build and maintain those kinds of relationships.